Anomaly Defenders is the newest installation in the Anomaly franchise. I've visited this game before in my first initiative role and I liked it because I said it has huge potential and I also hoped that some things got fixed. Well, it's time that I go more to the point because the full game released and I could watch all the levels. And this is after all a tower defense game. Simple as that. You build and upgrade towers, you manage special powers and you defend your base. Your base consists of both a headquarter in the form of a launch tower and mines which you can build yourself and gives you resources over time. They are very limited, so they deplete rather quickly. The way to build your base is usually drawn by some streets to jump gates. After set intervals, new human units spawn at those jump gates. However, which gates they are using is not randomized, so you could in theory win the game with trial and error. This is where the unit mechanic steps into effect. While it's true that you can learn where the enemy is coming from with trial and error, at least half the enemy waves do not consist out of only the same units, but so-called morphed units, which change their kind depending on your defensive strength. That means that instead of being able to figure out a perfect defense, those units will morph into a different unit kind to avoid the most damage applied by the towers. As such, a mixed defense which overlaps the range is required, because they can change their morph during to the way to your launch pad. Your towers can also be destroyed. The way to work around that is to the repair ability and line of sight. Apparently, the game consists of 24 levels with 3 different difficulties. All of them increase the rank of the enemy units and the damage they deal to your towers. They also allow you to gather extra currency for vital upgrades to your towers. Well, let's get over the few positive things about the game that I found. The mechanics are nice. I've mentioned them before. Line of sight and morphing enemies plus extra abilities, they are fun. They add variety to the game. I also very appreciate the sound and musical composition. They add a nice taste to the game. The graphics are flashy, but if you set them up correctly, they are nice to look at, and the gameplay is very fluid. That is because the waves spawn seamlessly into another. On the other hand, however, you got some things that I quite found distracting, if not very bad. First of all, from a mechanical standpoint, not having free tower placement is actually quite bad. How is that? The line of sight mechanic only works in some missions. In other missions, the tower spawn points and the building placement cleverly dodge the abuse of sniper-like setup or ambushes. This results in very little actual tactics, as this is fact combined with units that morph the type to cleverly dodge huge amount of damage spikes done in an ambush kind of way, which also means that the updates become completely useless as well. Why would you need a sniper level 4 upgrade if there's no freaking missions you can use it on because the tower range just don't add up with this line of sight? Some levels shoot mechanics at you that you cannot handle because you haven't yet received the upgrades or towers for it. Handling it becomes unfair and beating level on a higher difficulty is impossible the first time around. A very handy example is that the enemies start to use shields around mission 10. The EMP upgrade is only received after that mission. Also, an unleveled EMP doesn't actually help you at all. The range is really weak, and the impact doesn't change the status of the shields as much as a leveled up EMP. Some level designs are kinda unfair. Without the right towers you have to replay them if you want to beat them on the highest difficulty perfectly. But just is the way the game works, I guess. Something I found the most annoying in the whole game was the lack of its story. I mentioned it before, there was basically no story but the introduction text. I normally used to have a really good story, and now where I visited the game I can actually tell that. The story was important for me, but there is no any. I mean, the mission has an introduction you can read, which is in the top right corner if you're looking there. But there's no sound or voice acting like in the old games telling you a story. It's sad because basically you are only defending alien spaceships who want to get away from humans for whatever reason. And for whatever reason they don't even tell you. If you want a full glimpse of the universe, you gotta play the first 2 games. They go by the name Anomaly and Anomaly Wars on Earth as far as I remember. The balancing is still off. Some missions are incredibly hard and only able to be done with trial and error because there's just so many variables and it's basically really fucking hard to know where the enemy is coming from, and some are so easy that you win them with the first glance. After all, the game is better than around 99% of the things you see at armor games, but armor games also had some very good tower defense games, like Kingdom Rush, and both the Flash and the standalone blow Anomaly defense out of the water. I give this game a 6 out of 10. With tons of wasted potential and unaddressed balancing issues, this game failed to be as great as I hoped when I received the press copy. It's too bad, but it stays at that. It can be changed, but probably not be helped anymore. In this case, if you want to know what my first impression was, you can watch the Anomaly Defenders first impression, the so-called initiative role. If you like this video, please comment and subscribe. Also, if you want to stay around longer, I wouldn't mind it. Have a good day. The Aftermath signing out.